in person with us now, it's time to please take a moment and silence all your devices. And now I invite you just to take a nice deep breath. And from wherever you are, just settle in to this sacred space that we create. And we want you to worship together as we listen to this morning's prelude. This Land is Your Land by Woody Guthrie and performed by the fantastic West Side Band.
As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me, yeah. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I roam and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond desert. And all around me, her voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me, yeah, yeah. No existe nadie que pueda pararme por el camino de libertad. No existe nadie que pueda hacerme volver. Esta tierra es para ti, para mí. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. Esta tierra es para ti, para mí.
Thank you, Rocio and the West Side Band. I forgot to say earlier that Rocio will be sharing with us, and during the reflection today, her story of how she came to this country from El Salvador. And with that in mind, keeping that theme in mind, I selected readings today from the from the UUA website on immigration, and I'll be sharing those with you today. Our opening words are called "Beyond Borders" by Rick Hoyt. Go forth, because we are always going forth from somewhere. Going from our homes, our childhoods, going from our cities and countries, going from innocence to experience to enlightenment. Going into mystery and questions, going into the desert, getting to the other side. Go forth, leave behind the comfort and community of one place. Head into the anxiety and loneliness of another. Carry with you the love and laughter of this place and let it light your way. Carry with you the wisdom that you have learned and good memories. May they give you strength for your journey. And when you have been away long enough, far enough, done what you've set off to do, been there so long that that place too starts to feel like home, come back. Come back to the one universal, everywhere and every when and everyone inclusive home, this beloved community of all creation that you can never really leave. As do many Unitarian Universalist congregations, we begin our time together this morning with the lighting of a chalice, and I invite Cheryl Davis to come forward and light our chalice this morning. The chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, and it represents the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA. The flaming chalice symbolizes the heritage of our past, the warmth of community, and the light of hope within this church today. The flaming chalice was first used by the Unitarian Service Committee as a symbol of life-saving refuge for people fleeing persecution in Europe. And as we light this chalice, we invoke the love that called people to put their lives at risk to save others. May we be vessels of life-saving welcome.
Our chalice lighting reading today is Welcoming the Stranger by Tracy Blickney. A child's journey far from home, fearful and brave, in need of safe harbor. Guided by this chalice, may we seek to understand the causes of the flight. Like the comfort of a candle flickering in the window of darkness, let us welcome this child into our home with warmth, nourishment, and love. Would we not want the same for our own child, lost and alone in a strange land? Our opening hymn is 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, in the gray hymnal. Please stand as you are able and join our song leader, Scott Paulson.
Ready for a round? We're going to do this in a round. So we'll all sing together, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, in one unison. And then I'm going to take group 1, we sing through, and Carol's going to lead group 2, who starts the beginning of the song when you see the number 2, and then y'all will be finishing later than us. We'll sing it through twice once we split out. So all together, we're singing it 3 times. I hope that was clear. So ready? Go for it, Yuki.
Please remain standing and join me in our affirmation that's printed and will be projected here for you. Love is the doctrine of this church, and consciousness of truth is its sacrament. and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to work for justice through action, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. And you may be seated. And now please come forward if you are young at heart or just would like to have a close-up view for our time for all ages. And today it's going to be presented by Jana Kennard. And then we'll sing the children back to their seats with number 402, From You I Receive in the gray hymnal.
Good morning. How are all my friends today? Oh, that's so cool. I would do that too. It looks fluffier. So, James, where are you from? Here? Where are you from?
Well, where was I born?
Well, right.
Or where do I consider myself originated?
The originated from.
Portland, Oregon. We came here on a bit of a surprise because my family couldn't get a job.
Oh, okay. Rocio, where are you from? Where are you from? Fort Worth? Maddie, where are you from? Well, today we are going to learn about Fort Worth, Texas. I'm from Arlington, Texas. That's where I was born and raised. But I live here now, so I have your same questions. Like, I'm from West Side. I'm from Wedgewood neighborhood. But today we're going to learn where this little girl comes from.
Shamile Syed Mendez, where are you from? Jamie Kim, New York Times bestselling illustrator of Take Heart, My Child.
For Julian, Magali, Joaquin, Areli, and Valentino from YSM. For Kids from Everywhere from JK.
Where are you from? They ask. Is your mom from here? Is your dad from there? They ask. I'm from here, from today, same as everyone else, I say. No, where are you really from? They insist. I ask Abuelo because he knows everything. And like me, he looks like he doesn't belong. Where am I from? Abuelo thinks. His eyes squint like he's looking inside his heart for an answer. You come from the Pampas, the open, free land, he says. You are from the Gaucho, brave and strong, from the brown river that cleanses and feeds the land, that gives us the grain for our bread, the milk from the cows. You're from the mountains so high they tickle Señor Cielo's belly, where the condor roosts his family and the jaguar prowls the night. You're also from the warm, blue oceans the copper warriors tried to tame. And the elegant palm trees stretch their fingers to caress. You're from the hurricanes and dark storms, and a tiny singing frog that calls the island people home when the sun goes to sleep. From this land where our ancestors built a home for all, even when they were in chains because of the color of their skin. You're from the grandmothers who search for their grandchildren, waiting, always waiting in a plaza, their white handkerchiefs wrapping the sorrow of their thoughts. You come from the sunshine that lights our path in this world and the rain that washes away our mistakes. But, Abuelo, I ask, where am I really from? Abuelo laughs. You want a place? He points to his heart. You're from here. From my love and the love of all those before us. From those who dreamed of you because of a song sung under the Southern Cross, or the words in a book written under the light of the North Star. You are from all of us. I am.
So, guys, have you ever heard
Okay, class. Who would
of
like
the
to do
word-
problem 3 on the board? Please don't be.
Have you ever heard of the word microaggression? Do y'all know? Does anyone know what that means? Well, there's another word for it too. It's called subtle acts of exclusion. And it's ways that we sometimes, maybe on purpose, but a lot of times it's accidental. But we ask questions that are, or make assumptions that are hurtful to people. So sometimes the first thing we might do is if someone is a different color than us, or maybe they have accents so their voices don't sound the same, the first thing we might ask is, well, where are you from? Making an assumption that they're not from right here. And like the little girl said, I'm from right here, from today, same as everyone else. And so, I kind of learned about that today. I didn't realize until I read this that just simply being the first thing you might ask someone might be a little bit hurtful, because we're just automatically assuming they're not from where we are. Because some people may not be the same color as us, but they were born right here in Fort Worth. Their ancestors were from maybe somewhere else. So today, what I'd like y'all to think about are questions we could ask someone to get to know them better and maybe learn their story. Like, can you think of a question you might ask instead of immediately, where are you from, Rocio? What might you ask? How about, what's your favorite food? Or what books do you like to read? Or what class is your favorite? Or what game do you like to play? What are your favorite hobbies, or do you even have hobbies? And then you start learning people's stories. Amelia? What do you like? What do you don't like? And then we're not just making an assumption because someone might look a little different. We are really getting to learn their story, and you get to learn more about them and learn that maybe y'all have the same favorite food or the same books, or someone might not like to read books, but you do, or y'all play the same game or love the same show. So anyhow, this book helped me learn to think more when I ask questions of people. When I might not even know it might be just a little bit hurtful. So anyhow, thank you so much. And Miss Nikki ordered this book, so it will be in our library, so y'all can see it for yourself come next week. So I hope y'all have an incredible day and meet lots of people and learn their stories. And thank you for joining me.
Good morning. I'm also your pastoral care associate this morning. I'm a member of the pastoral care team. And in our community here at Westside, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. And we do this because each person in this community has value. So we would like you to submit your joys and concerns to our team, either by completing one of these forms at the welcome table outside in the lobby there, or you can email us at pastoralcare@westsideuu.org, or just simply let any member of the team know. The team is John Fisher, Debbie Rake, Barbara Crotty, Jane Hardwick, Brenda McKeon, and myself. We share our concerns with one another today, knowing that sorrows come into each person's life, knowing that together we can offer comfort. And I'm sharing a concern this morning about my niece and sort of like my almost adopted daughter. She grew up with me and my parents until she was about 5. And she found out this week that at her 10-week sonogram that they could not find a heartbeat. So this was really sad news. And we just had a big party last Saturday celebrating the coming of her second child. And this is the second time this has happened. So be thinking of Miranda Floyd and her family as we grieve for them. We also like to share our joys with one another, knowing too that joy comes into our lives, and so that together our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. And we have 2 joys today. One is a joy and a concern. If you were here last week, you heard the concern from Gwen Genius. So her joy today is that her 17-year-old grandson survived after being shot last weekend by a stray bullet while jogging in his home neighborhood in New Orleans, or I think it was Louisiana. His lung, which was pierced, was treated and is now healing. A muscle in his arm is expected to heal on its own. Her concern is that the bullet, which is lodged in his vertebrae, will have to be removed at a later date. Thankfully, it appears that there was no damage to his spinal cord. And if you know Tom and Leela Woods, this is a joy from them. Leela shared that Tom had back surgery this past week, and they are happy with the results. Good news, his nerves are waking up, and the bad news is he can feel them. So they're looking forward to reaching their goals. So we make space each week for musical centering, knowing that life and experience of every person matters, and together our lights shine brighter. As we hold all the joys and concerns among us, both those spoken and unspoken, let us sing our centering song number 1002 in the Teal hymnal, Comfort Me.
Good morning. I changed hats. My name is Jana Kennard, and I am a leader of one of the meditation groups here at Westside. Our meditation will begin with an introduction before we move into a minute of silence. Our bell will sound to signal the start of your own meditation, prayer, or reflection, and it will sound again at the end. Our meditation today, Praying for Refuge, was written anonymously in September 2015. So within it, there are some moments and incidents of things that happened. I just want you to also think of all the things that have happened since 2015. The familiar can be delicate for the innocent, and too often suddenly lost and destroyed. Homes and roads and neighborhoods, or simply the sense of security which makes a place feel like it's yours, like it's a place to stay. For so many reasons, people depart. They seek refuge from 1,000 dangers and uncertainties for themselves and their children. From places they can't stay, onward to places often unknown. Let us hold the refugee, the asylee, and the immigrant in prayer. May peace be with you. May your grief and loss be assuaged. May the hard road you travel include spaces of rest and security. May you know your inherent worth and dignity every day of the journey. Let us pray for the people who are met along the way. May they remember how they were strangers too. May they embrace the pathways of compassion. May they recall the teachings of the prophets. May they make room in their hearts and their homes. And let us pray for all. May the news that 70 migrating people were discovered dead in a truck arriving in Austria open our eyes to injustice. May the image of the body of the 2-year-old Syrian boy, Alan Kurdi, make us tremble and wail. May the plight of refugees in Budapest stir our souls. May we understand that around the world, similar tragedies occur daily, usually but beyond our awareness. May we count our blessings and direct our generous support where there is need. May we seek partnerships that confront unjust structures and hardened hearts. May we recommit ourselves to global community beyond all borders. In human solidarity and with a firm commitment to the pathways of compassion, may we pray and act unceasingly. May we be good company to one another in our questions and our journey. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
Thank you, Jana. And now here at Westside, we practice our UU faith in a variety of ways. One of those is by giving 100% of our gifts in our weekly collection, unless otherwise designated, to support organizations who carry out our transcendent values of compassion, justice, and equality. And in April, our Westside offering is going to a group called Downwinders at Risk. And I know we've shared about this every week, and I tried to see what I could cut out about this. It's kind of long, but every bit of information about this group is so important. I wanted everyone to be able to hear this about this group. They are dedicated to taking effective action on behalf of those being harmed by air pollution. Its goal is to build a strong grassroots constituency and create new strategies for clean air in North Texas. It was founded in 1994, and it is still led by one of its co-founders, Ed Schirmbeck, born and raised here in Fort Worth. Downwinders is committed to working for environmental justice with communities impacted by the worst pollution. It does this by informing, collecting, and mobilizing citizens to become active participants in the decision-making that affects the air we breathe. As a respiratory therapist, that's important to me. Downwinders at Risk has collaborated with the communities in South Dallas to get rid of industrial polluters in their neighborhoods. and last year joined our Fort Worth community Echo Heights in efforts to make its neighborhood safe from environmental polluters and to challenge City Hall over the absence of environmental justice in its city planning. Downwinders at Risk wants to bring power and expertise to the city's poorer neighborhoods that have had no say in dirty industries moving in. With that in mind, it has worked to make its board of directors more reflective of those most impacted by air pollution. Today, its board is strongly diverse with people of color, women, and multi-generational members. Let's support the environmental justice and strong anti-racist work of this organization. Please give generously to partnership with Downwinders as you are able, and thank you. You can give online through our church's giving page located at the Giving tab at the top of our homepage on our website. Just be sure to select the Service Project Fund and add the name of today's group. You can also give by using the Vanco mobile app, which is easily downloaded from the App Store. And finally, another easy option is just to simply mail a check here to the church, 901 Page Avenue. We thank you for your offering today. Now, please enjoy today's offertory, This Land is Your Land, and performed by Yuki and Jonathan. That song takes me back to 8th grade. My parents let me take guitar lessons, and that was one of the first songs that the teacher taught me how to play. That and Froggy Went A-Courtin' and all those kind of crazy songs. Puff the Magic Dragon, y'all remember those? Those were the 60s, you know. Yeah. All right, y'all, thank you for putting into practice the spiritual virtue of generosity. Our giving connects us to the wider web of our community. And thank you so much for keeping your stewardship commitment current to help keep our congregation's important work going. And now it is my pleasure to welcome our speaker and Westside Board Vice President, Rocio Sarmiento-Ayala.
Good morning. Okay, so my name is Rocio Sarmiento-Ayala. Thank you, those of you for joining us today, and those of you who are joining us online as well, and my friends who are here to support me. They know that I am not a king of public speaking, but here we are, and I want to thank Cindy Fountain for that. She's one of the main reasons I am sharing my story today. You will come to understand why. All right, so when I was about to turn 6 years old, my mother made the decision. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. Next, please. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, we're working on it. My clicker didn't want to work this morning. Okay, a little bit of background information. Forgot I can move. Okay, that's a map of Central America. You can see Mexico on the north. Then the purple one is, I think it's purple. I've never been able to understand purple from the other colors. Purple is Guatemala, and the little one, the brown one right there is El Salvador, and that's where I was born. So the picture you see next to that map, it's on your left, on my right is my mom. Sitting down with a yellow dress is my great-grandma, my Mama Laura, and that little kind of funny-looking baby, that was me. The little boy trying to pull my hair, that's actually what he was doing. That's my cousin and my aunt. So when I was about to turn 6 years old, my mother made the decision to leave me, my brother, and my grandma to come to the United States. She didn't tell me she was going to leave, but I knew it. Shortly before she left, many relatives would come in and out of my house. And the grown-ups would send me away, as grown-ups do, when they discuss serious business, you know. Then one day, my mom didn't come back. She went to work, and she didn't come back. I'm not sure how long, next please. I'm not sure how long after my mom left, my grandma gave me the news that she had left to the United States. She also told me and my brother that we would get to talk to her over the phone. We didn't have a phone in our house, so we had to go to the main part of our city to access the public telephones, where we would wait until the call came in. My grandma cautioned my 3-year-old brother and me not to cry and not to ask her to come back. So, being the big 6-year-old girl I then was, I didn't cry, and I didn't ask her to come back. I let the knot on my throat be still. My brother's first words, "Mommy, when are you coming back?" "I miss you." My mother on the other side broke down, crying. That's around the age my brother and I were when my mom left to the United States. My mom would work probably 18 hours outside of the house, and she still couldn't afford to buy milk for us. And that's one of the main reasons she decided to come to the United States. I spent the next 6 Mother's Days wishing my mama was with me. 6 years later, when I had just begun 6th grade and was about to turn 12 years old, my grandma asked me one simple question: "Would you like to go live with your mom?" And I said yes without hesitation. During the next few weeks, I kept attending school, playing with my friends, and trying to keep a normal life while carrying a huge secret. My grandma, of course, didn't tell my little brother because apparently he was a little too social. Not anymore. He's gotten out of that habit. Next slide, please. Now, before I tell you about my journey, I want to tell you a bit about what it was like to grow up in El Salvador. I grew up poor, but we always had food to eat. Unlike my grandma, who had to scavenge the landfills as a child, I always went to school, and my only responsibilities were cleaning and doing homework. My grandma never went to school and understood perfectly the importance of education. When I was about 10 years old, I got a video game, courtesy of my mom's sacrifice. No one else in my pasaje, which is the area, that's what we call the areas where we live, very close together housing. No one else in my pasaje had one. So everyone would come to play in my house. My cousins, my brother and I would ride our bikes down to a toxic river that passes close to our house. That river is where all the wastewater is dumped. Every Salvadorian knows the name of the river. We were not supposed to go down there. We were not supposed to even leave our street. There were gangs everywhere. I remember very vividly how close to her my grandma would make us walk when we went to borrow someone's phone in a neighboring community. Gangsters somehow always knew if you were a local or not. My grandma would tell me, "Stay close to me and don't look to your sides." I didn't know it at the time, but my city was becoming one of the most dangerous in the country. So much so that to this day, people from outside are still cautious, if not afraid of going in. I saw many of the older kids get involved with gang members. I didn't pay too much attention to the violence around me. My family took care of me. And I will share a bit about 3 special people who were part of my family and who helped to protect me. Next, please. I called him Papatilo. He is the man that you see kneeling down with my brother on his lap. He was my grandpa. Except he really wasn't. If you want to learn more a little bit, talk to me after service. But he was my grandpa. But to me, he was also my father. He showed me how to make glue to use when fixing our roof. He showed me how to mix cement and build pyramids out of mud. He taught me how to add and subtract. He thought I was really smart for some reason. No. He loved me. He would take me and my brother to school, and in the afternoons, he would help us climb mango trees and nance trees to get some fruit. He would also take us down to the little park where my brother broke his arm. I don't know what he was doing. When I was 9 or so, my grandma sent me to my great-grandma's town. When I came back, Papatilo was gone. My grandma got fed up of dealing with his alcoholism. I cried, and I was angry. My Papatilo was gone. I saw him later that year. He moved to my great-grandma's hometown, where he was originally from. He asked me, "How are you doing, daughter? Are you doing your chores? Tell your grandma I love her. Take care of yourself. I love you." He gave me a huge hug and said goodbye. We never saw Papatilo again. I was told he passed away alone in a hospital in 2003, almost a year after we arrived to the United States. I have blamed myself many times for not being there with him to hold his hand. Next, please. I also had the huge privilege of growing up with my Mama Laura, my great-grandma. She lived in a small town named Berlin, but not Berlin, Germany, Berlin, El Salvador, far away from the city, in a small, rundown adobe house. In fact, that house on the left corner, that's the house she lived in. That's the house my grandma and my mom grew up in. That's the house I have a lot of incredible memories about. I loved visiting her. She always had fresh coffee and bread. My great-grandma was a strong woman, very much like my grandma, and she was brilliant. She would tell me so many stories and poems that have slowly faded from my memory. The last few years I lived in El Salvador, I would always walk with her in the back of the group. Everyone else walked in the front. Everyone else always seemed to be in a hurry. But Mama Laura's stride was slow. So much so that she called herself a turtle and would often ask me why I like walking with the turtle. And one day I said, "Because I want to be a turtle too." And she burst out laughing. It was musical. She almost never laughed. My beautiful grandma, next please. My beautiful grandma, my Mami Fide, was the other reason I didn't pay too much attention to the violence around me. That woman's love for me and my brothers has no bounds. She really sees us as her children. My grandma was about 56 years old when she decided she would reunite my brother and me with my mom. She decided to say goodbye to her brothers and sisters, her nieces and nephews, her friends, and her beloved mother, just to make sure we arrived safely in the United States. 56 years old, everyone. My grandma was the eldest daughter of Mama Laura, and she served as a second mother to all 9 of her siblings and to many of her nieces and nephews later on. My grandma made the huge sacrifice of leaving her entire life behind, and I can't help but wonder if she regrets her decision. The morning we left El Salvador, we walked out of our street, accompanied by Mama Laura, one of my cousins, and my aunt, her mom. I hugged everyone and climbed to sit on the back of a red pickup truck that would take us to our bus station. My grandma stopped, hugged my great-grandma, and said her goodbyes. That's when Mama Laura reclined against a small wall at the entrance of our street and said to my grandma, "Here where you see me, here I will be waiting for you." We never saw Mama Laura again either. We never got to see her waiting for us at the wall. But at least my cousin and my aunt were there by her side until her last breath. She was with loved ones. I wonder if my grandma regrets her decision. While I was in the back of the truck, I remember looking at the beautiful sky and thinking to myself, take all of this in because you don't know how much time will pass until you see it again. I haven't seen that sky since then. Not yet. We got to the bus station. We said bye yet again to the friends that drove us. My brother had no idea where we were going. We got on the bus and crossed into Guatemala with no problems. But we were stopped and made to get down from the bus as we tried to cross into Mexico. The details of that part of my journey are something I don't share in public. But I can tell you two things. The first, I had to learn the Mexico national anthem and a lot of Mexican history when we finally crossed into Mexico, just in case we were stopped by their border patrol. And we were stopped indeed. My grandma, my brother, and I were made to get down from the bus that was taking us from Chiapas, which is in the southern border of Mexico, to the center of Mexico, which is Mexico City. The officer who brought us down asked me if I was in school, and I said no. When he asked me why not, I said, because my mom has no money. But I made a huge mistake that was about to get us deported back to El Salvador. You see, at the age of 12, I had made the huge error of using the Salvadorian word for money, pisto. The officer quickly noticed it and said, "You guys are not from here." My body went cold. Just as he finished uttering those words, the officer was called away to a different place. My grandma softly said to me, "My God, Rocio, what have you done?" At 12 years old, I felt like the most miserable human in existence. Not only had I completely messed up by using my words from my native lexicon, but I had also disappointed my grandma, or at least that's how it felt, and was now probably gonna be sent back without getting to see my mom. When the officer returned, he said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you all go on, but remember, you don't say pisto," the Salvadorian word for money. I swear to you all that I saw the clouds in the sky make way for the sun when the officer said that. This is not something I made up. It is not a metaphor. I clearly remember seeing the clouds physically make way to the sun. For the longest, I've been mesmerized by what I saw. The clouds moved to let us through. The second thing I will share is that my brother was separated from my grandma and I in Tijuana right before we crossed into the United States. He was crossed in a safer way because he was a little child. My grandma and I were crossing a more compacted and dangerous way. There were 9 of us in a very small space, and I had a hard time breathing. So much so that the other migrants with us told my grandma to shut me up, or they, the border patrol, would find us. I was trying my best. I was lucky yet again because it didn't happen. A day after crossing, next please. A day after crossing, we reunited with my brother, who told me he'd only been fed hot dogs. How awesome is that? We both thought. We didn't know it then, but he just got a bread and a weenie, no, nothing else. Now we know that's not a real hot dog. On the other hand, my grandma and I had been fed 1 cup of noodle soup a day, a cup that we had to share. The next day, someone took us to our final destination. A man drove us from San Diego to Los Angeles, where my uncle was waiting for us. We climbed into my uncle's car and drove to his house. A beautiful woman was standing outside. I remember getting out of the car and approaching her. She hugged my brother, but I couldn't bring myself to hug her. Was she my mom? As if she'd heard my thoughts, she said, "I am your mom." And when she said that, I burst into a deep cry. All the tears I held for 6 years, all the tears I held back during the time we crossed Mexico, all those tears came at once. I was going to start a new life with my mom. Except, soon enough, I realized I didn't want to stay. I wanted to go back. A few months later, after attending summer school, I begged my mom to go back. I wanted to be with cousins and friends. But she said, "There's nothing back there for you. There's no jobs, there's no education. Here, you will have a good education." And so reluctantly, I had no choice but to stay and do my best in school. I always knew I was undocumented. Friends call us dreamers. Haters call us illegals. Growing up, I believed the haters. I believed I had no rights. I believed I was gonna go to college. I was not gonna go to college, even though I had taken all these AP classes and honors classes. But there were people along the way that helped me understand that no human being is illegal. I went from being in the shadows to being part of the movement to push the Obama administration for deferred action for childhood arrivals, also known as DACA. I was on my way to a civil disobedience event when our leader gave us the news that the White House would be announcing their executive action on DACA. By that time, it was 2012, and I had already graduated college and was still working at a fast food restaurant full-time, because a degree is almost always of no use to an undocumented person. Or so it feels. I am now protected by DACA. I have a work permit that I get to renew every year and a half for only $600. DACA comes with the bonus of living life in increments of almost 2 years at a time. When I was undocumented, I did not pursue my dream of being in the medical field. There was no point, because I wouldn't have been able to take the necessary tests or pass background checks. After DACA, I've had to learn to make decisions based on how the courts feel about immigrants. Do they like us a bit today? Let's have a baby. Do they hate us? Let's wait to buy a house. Is the Supreme Court going to deem DACA unconstitutional? Let's move back with our families in California, or when that happens. There are days when I want to give up, but I'm not sure what that looks like. Does giving up mean I stop working as hard as I do? Does it mean we move to Mexico, which, by the way, is not even my country? What does it mean to give up for me? What I do know is that this country's hateful rhetoric towards people like me and my family is nothing new. But it is people with that mentality who made Trump gain power the first time. And he was quick to challenge DACA and halt new applications from going through. Trump is yet again a threat to many, and I'm tired. Tired of trying to make a positive impact in a country where so many people hate me. in a country where I didn't want to stay. But this is the place I live in. This is the place I want to help make better. Better for all children, for my mom, for my little siblings, for my grandma, and for my sweet Sophia. I'm going to finish by saying this. I stopped sharing my story in 2013 because people would never listen. I would ask them to please write about my family, to advocate for protections for immigrants who were not college graduates, but who were as hardworking, if not more hardworking, than so-called dreamers like me. Everyone loves to write about the model immigrant, and I fit perfectly into that stereotype. But I want people to hear about the ones who sacrificed everything to give us a better future. The ones who work 2 or 3 jobs to support the bellies and smiles of their children. The ones who are not college graduates, but prepare our food, build our houses, grow our food. I want people to understand that my mother and my grandma are the original dreamers. Not me. I am not your dreamer, but I am their dream. Would you help me protect them, friends? Would you do what others failed to do and listen? Would you help keep my family safe? Thank you. Now please stand as you are able and join me in the closing hymn, 305, in the grand hymnal, De Colores. We'll sing the first verse in English and the second verse in Spanish.
Our closing words today are Come, Come, Whoever You Are by Matthew Johnson. In awareness of the truth of our own stories, our own contingency and fragility, our own need to be welcomed, we can see in the faces of one another, we can hear in the voices of one another, the core humanity, our siblings, our family, our neighbor, and say, Come, come, whoever you are welcome here. It's my prayer this morning that we heed the words etched on that Statue of Liberty, that we have a country where those words apply to everyone, not just some, where our hearts are open and our door stands ajar. As the poet Emma Lazarus wrote on the Colossus, not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. May it be, and may we make it so. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of every one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and especially those who you have yet to meet. And before our congregational closing, Linda Ice wanted me to ask you to please return your hymnals to the back of the sanctuary as you leave. Myron Ice will be having his studio spring recital here later today, and that will assist with the setup of the event. Thank you. And now please join me in the congregational closing. Go in peace, seeking justice. Go in peace, committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. Go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.